Etan and Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
What's going on, E? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I wanted to shout you out, man. I know it was your birthday earlier in the week, and it's April. April is the best month. It's your birthday. My birthday is the 21st, so it's a lot of good birthdays happening in April. So I want to say happy birthday to you and let everybody know out there that it was your birthday this April 1st, right?
April 1st, April Fool's Day. Yep.
Yeah. No April Fools on your birthday. That was the real thing right there, though.
It's funny because I grew up, my mom would always get me, for some April Fool's jokes. She was notorious for that. But, yep, that's what I grew up with.
Nice. So it's not Monday, but it's Thursday, and we're back on this week. And, E, we got a lot to talk about, man. We got the portal happening, a couple of signings. A lot of stuff's happening with Melo, with the commencement and obviously being inducted to the Hall of Fame. But let's start with the portal. That's what everyone wants to hear, obviously, in the two signings that Syracuse had, that Kyle Williams and then Nate Kings from Oregon State. So give me your take on those two guys and how it's going to help the Orange going into next year.
So I think we took care of two needs. I know a lot of the fans were kind of reacting to seeing how productive they were with their former teams, and they're looking at the points per game and the minutes, but you got to look more of like what they can bring to the table. We needed some shot blocking, rim protecting, an athletic five that could pick and roll and finish at the rim. Those are things that we needed. We also needed a shooter. Those filled those two needs. But it's the transfer portal is a little tough. Because it's like, do you try to get, like, it's like the bird in the hand is worth more than, two in the bush type of thing. So you could get this player here, but do you try to gamble to get this other player that, 5 or 6 schools are getting? You might not be kind of high on the list, and then you might not get him, and then you're stuck. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a tricky game. But no, I think that they could be, players that really contribute, and we just have to see how they fit into the system. What do you think?
Yeah, I like your take. I like the pickups. It's not – so these two guys aren't guys who are like program changers, right? It's not like a superstar guy coming in and your $2-3 million guy out of the portal. We haven't had that happen yet. I'm hoping we could get a point guard who – is a guy who's a game changer and a program changer, because we need that. We need another big, and we need a lead guard, a point guard. But we need a shooter, obviously, with Chris Bell leaving. And he's long, he's athletic, 6'5". Again, you look at the stats can be misleading. I haven't really seen him play. I just watched from the highlights. But, 44% from the three-point line. He shot 50% overall. He's not a guy that's really going to go inside too much. I think he could help us out in transition. Talked about his athleticism. He only averaged 2 rebounds. But again, Oregon State, it might have been a whole different system for him. Maybe that wasn't what he needed to do. He was just a guy who was outside of the perimeter, and that's what he added. So we got our shooter at the 3. He's a big shooter. I think he's long and athletic. Defensively, he could definitely help us. And then talking about Williams, he's a guy who's just active big. There's always a place for him on any team. A guy who wants to block shots. He can switch on the pick and rolls. He's going to run the floor. And I think that's what Syracuse needed to get back to. Just getting out, playing fast, trying to get out in transition. They were terrible in transition this year. There wasn't a lot of transition buckets. So adding a guy who can get out in the wing, shoot the ball, that helps transition, and then a big who can rim run and be efficient around the rim, that's going to help. But I think defensively with that big guy, with Williams, we definitely got better being able to switch the pick and rolls. And obviously this year, that's where we really, really struggled, right? Especially with Eddie, who, was more like a methodical big, a guy who was a back to the basket, really high IQ, but, struggled defensively and struggled protecting the rim. So we got better in that area, rim protection, shooting, and now we need to add two more guys. You need to get a point guard, because it can't be JJ this season. He's shown flashes where he's capable. But we need a guy who can come in, score the basketball, get in the paint, but more importantly, being able to make decisions and getting guys in their spots, right? That's super important. I mean, it's like the quarterback of your team, E. You know, if you got a guy who could make everybody else feel comfortable, take the pressure off of JJ, get Kings where he could just spot up and knock it down, they're going to be so much better. And I think as far as a big goes, you don't necessarily need a big who has to be able to score the basketball, right? I mean, we want him to be capable around the rim, but you got Donnie, you got JJ, and then if you could lock up a point guard, those could be your three scorers. But I think if you get a guy who could really protect the rim, William can come up and back him up. But a guy who's a threat around the rim, but is not a guy who you're looking to score, 15 points a game. We don't really need that. More so a defensive guy, a guy who can rim run, and a guy who's capable around the rim.
Yeah. I think that losing Batar in the to the portal, I think that he would have provided a backup. You know what I mean? Big man, somebody who was a service, like he did the dirty work. He was able to do, and losing him to the portal, I don't know. You know what I mean? I was kind of surprised that he did leave. I know there's different, speculation of why he left. But you think we need another 5 to, kind of do all the dirty work, like a hard-nosed rebounder type to be able to get those tough boards and things of that nature. I don't know. How many are we looking to add in this portal? What do you think? What do you think is the number for us?
And I said Kyle William. It's William Kyle. So I got the first name and the last name mixed up. No, I mean, honestly, a point guard is huge. You need a guy who's a game changer. But as far as the 5 goes, you need another guy, because I don't think the guy from UCLA, I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's a guy that you start. I think he's a guy who could come off the bench. He could come in for Donnie. He could come in for the 5-man as well, right? He's a guy that's perfect coming off the bench, just bringing a spark, bringing energy defensively. He's a lob threat. Like I said, he's a guy who could rim run. But I still think they need that front court presence, especially – I think Donnie, he's definitely going to improve on both ends of the floor. He's not the greatest defender. And I think if we could get a guy at the 5 who's a really strong defender, and again, a guy who's just a presence around the rim. If he could step out, he can pick and pop. Obviously, that's a plus. But almost a guy who could help Donnie defensively, right? Where Donnie could, because Donnie's he's good off the weak side, right? Like coming and blocking shots, he's capable of doing that. Like one-on-one guarding guys, he struggled a bit this year. So if you could get a big in there who could really hold it down defensively, and then you could kind of let Donnie roam around a little bit and let him block shots coming from the weak side and get out and run and play like that, I think that's going to be better for Syracuse.
Do you think that we should mix in a little bit of zone, a little bit more? I know a lot of fans kind of wanted to see the zone a little bit more this past year. We struggling kind of defensively at times. Do you think we should mix it in a little bit more?
I mean, I think it just depends on the personnel and it depends on who you're playing. I mean, I like it to be able to go to it, right? Especially if you have length up top, if you have length in the bottom. I think it's effective. If you're playing against a team who, shooting the lights out and they're shooting 2-3 feet behind the line, you're going to have to adjust. Because if you have to come all the way out, and E, this, we played in the zone. If your wings have to come that high on the 3-point line, now the whole backside is wide open for lobs and getting in the gaps and whatnot. But I think it's good just to have that in your back pocket, but you have to have the personnel to do it. You have to have the athletes. You have to have guys who are active and moving, because the 2-3 zone isn't just a stand around zone, especially how we played at Syracuse, or how we used to play it. You have to be active. You have to be athletic. You have to know your spots and know your rotations. But yeah, E, to your point, I think it's good just to have it, right? Just to switch it up sometimes coming out of timeouts, or coach always used to, I mean, we always played the zone, but coming out of the timeouts, just if going from man to that 2-3 zone and just mixing it up a little bit, frustrating the opposition. But it's good to have that in your back pocket, definitely.
It's interesting because I hear a lot of conversations about the transfer portal, and a lot of people complaining about it a lot. What are your thoughts on the transfer portal as a whole? Do you think they need to adjust it? What are you think it's ruining college basketball? What do you think about the transfer portal?
I mean, look, I don't have the answers. I just saw a stat today where it said almost 4,000 Division I, Division II athletes entered the transfer portal. I mean, a lot of those people or a lot of those players, they won't be getting picked up, and they won't even be getting picked up by their former school. So where are they going to go? It has to be something where you can only transfer once or twice, right? They have to be able to do that, and then obviously the NIL they have to figure out. It has to be contracts. It has to be a salary cap. This has to be. It has to be. What's the word I'm looking for? They have to figure it out because right now it's the wild wild west. You know, I like the portal where they're giving players opportunities, but it shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to be able to transfer 3-4 times. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, there's some players that are at a different school every single year, from their freshman to their senior year.
Yeah, but I was also looking at a stat that showed the number of coaches that moved this year, and it's almost like 50. I mean, and that number keeps going up more and more. So, if your coach keeps leaving, then you have a new coach that comes in and he's not really feeling you, you're not part of his program, then you kind of got to leave. So, I mean, players are put in kind of tough positions where, their coaches are leaving. And that's why I struggle with it when I hear people say that it should be kind of limited to one time. What if your coach leaves, he gets fired twice? So they just move, or they tell you that they're going to stay there for, the duration, and they leave right after the tournament. There's a lot of different factors that go in, but it's hard for me to say that there should be a specific number when coaches move around the way that they do, especially during the tournament. Like, coaches were out interviewing and, talking to different, schools. And as soon as the tournament was over, boom, they're gone. That's kind of tough to have to regulate the players, but then not the coaches.
No, that's a good point, because now a new coach comes in, he doesn't like your style of game. Now you're not playing. Now you're out the rotation. Now everything is different. So I don't have the answer, but they just need to figure out on both sides. It just has to be accountability on both sides. My whole thing is this: I don't want to see a guy every time something wrong happens or you don't get the playing time you think you deserve, just going off and going to a different school. Like you got to be able to go through some type of adversity. And again, it's different situations and different scenarios for every single player. But I don't want to see guys continually run from the problem. Let's figure it out. Like, okay, get in the gym a little bit more. If it's a coach who's like, he just doesn't like you, that's a different situation, right? Then you have to transfer. But I just think a lot of times with the transfer portal and just the whole landscape of college basketball, what is teaching these guys is, as soon as adversity hits, as soon as you hit a couple challenges, you run the other way. And that's when you're done with college basketball. That's not how it is in life. You're going to have to be able to face these problems and figure it out. You can't just keep running to the next place, because it's going to be the same situation. You're going to have to deal with the same challenges. So I just don't like how, people are so-called running from the adversity.
And I know we got to go to a break real quick, but let me just say this point real quickly before we go. People always have to take into consideration that a lot of times coaches are telling players to go into the transfer portal, that you're not going to play here. We're not going to award you another year of a scholarship. So you need to go into the portal. That happens a lot more than people think. You could talk to different players. You could talk to different guys. Some players they don't even want to transfer. They're being pushed out by the coaches. So you always got to take that into consideration. But let's take this break, and we'll be back with more, a lot of this. So we have a lot to discuss. So we'll be right back. Good.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. Like, a lot of these guys,
man,
they are being forced out.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough, man. It's just they need to figure it out.
I don't know what the solution is, to be honest with you. I have no idea. They got to do something, but I don't know what the solution is.
I think if they do, if they
4,000 is crazy.
Yeah, it's something close to that. But if they figure out the NIL stuff, I think it'll help with the portal stuff. Like as far as like a salary cap or whatever it is. Again, I don't have the answers, but if they figure that out, it's not going to be so much transferring in and out. I mean, because a lot of these guys too, look at they're treating it like free agency. They had a great year, and now who's the highest bidder? You know, because this you have a good year at Syracuse, they can't afford you. I'm going to Kentucky or whatever else it is. You know, it's
yeah. And what was
the problem with the coach argument, guys? You know how you say the coaches leave? The coaches have buyouts though. So it costs millions of dollars to the universities for the coaches to leave. So the players should have to have something similar. If you're going to leave, you got to pay us back or something.
Yeah, there got to be some type of buyout, some in the contract. Are these? We don't even know if some of these guys are signing contracts.
They're not signing multiple year deals though. So if guys start signing 2-year deals or 3-year deals, that's different. But everybody's signing 1-year deals.
Yeah, they got to do something. They got to get more than 1 year.
Well, and Paulie, a lot of these guys they're not getting paid from the university. Like these payments are coming from outside sources and businesses. So that's going to have to be through the business that they figure that out, right?
I think so. I think everybody's trying to funnel it through one thing, through a university. So like everybody donates to this, like the car dealerships and whatnot donate to the fund. And then it all comes through the university now. But I don't know. It's all confusing.
It's confusing.
But
I don't have a big enough brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They would have to have multiple year deals in order to be able to do something like that to get a buyout. But yeah, no, that makes it a little bit, adds a different wrinkle to it.
Who's some of the point guards? I saw this must have been a fake thing. I saw probably the point guard from Georgia. Somebody said that Syracuse was going to land him. That was fake, right?
I don't know. Everybody's saying it. Everybody just says it, and then they can take credit for being the first one to say it. Like, oh, that guy's in the portal. He's coming to Syracuse.
They said that kid was like $2 million. I mean, because these two guys that they got, I kept saying William Kyle. He has 2 first names.
His name's
they probably weren't super expensive, right? I mean, it's hard to imagine those guys were $1 million. If you spend $1 million on those guys,
yeah.
Well, I mean, again, yeah, he's probably going to where his coach went, right?
What does it mean when they have a do not call? I've seen that.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means so they can reach out to them, and the teams can't reach out to them.
Okay,
if that makes sense. So they will contact the teams they're interested in.
Oh, okay, all right. They don't want everybody calling them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure
they've been tampered with.
Yeah, I'm sure teams are still doing it.
88 lucky homeowners, and this is your last chance. So hurry and call now for your free estimate at 457-6911. That's 457-6911.
We're the nice guys.
Broadcasting live from downtown Syracuse. We are live. We are local. We are Galaxy Media Partners. ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. This is the Etan and Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Dievendorf.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Real quick, I just saw, we were talking about it during the break, but I saw a name go in the portal, and this was a few days ago, and Paulie even said something about it. Jalen Lowe from Pittsburgh, who was, I think he actually declared for the draft too, but he's able to come back in the portal. I mean, this is a guy that he was electric. You know, he dealt with some injuries at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh didn't have a great year. They started off good, ended pretty bad. But that's the type of point guard I'm talking about. A guy who can get in the lane, create. He's a solid knockdown shooter. But he gets everyone in their positions. He's a good decision maker. That's the type of point guard that I'm saying. You know, where are those guys? And my whole thing is like Syracuse we're a top 5 or 6, whatever it is, historically winning program, like top 5 most wins in NCAA history. And no shade to these dudes that we signed. I think they're good pieces. A shooter, a rim protector, active defender. I think they're good pieces. My thing is, like, if we want to get back to where, we're talking about national championships and getting to we're talking about getting into the tournament. That was like a given. Getting in the tournament. We weren't talking about getting into the tournament. We were talking about winning an NCAA championship. And I know times have changed and everything. But I want to go after those type of guys, like 5-star recruit McDonald's, the best guy in the portal. Like, if, hey, $1 to $2 million, we got to spend it. Like, I want to hear those names. Like, where are those guys at? Even if we don't have it, I'm telling you, hey, we got it. We're gonna figure it out. we got to figure it out.
I hear you, E, but you got to crawl before you walk. We ain't made the tournament. You talk about championship, Final Four. We got to crawl first. We got to get to the tournament. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to go in steps. I mean, so I don't know. Yeah, you want to go and swing for the fence and try to get those guys, those 5 stars, the top people in the transfer portal. But if you put all your eggs in that basket and then you don't get them, now you lost the guys that you could have gotten. So I hear what you're saying, but it's a risky game, and our bar is right now that we want to make the tournament. That's where we are. That's where it is. E, I know you want it to be that we're gonna try to get to the Final Four, but we got it. We ain't. How long has it been since we've been to the tournament? How many years?
So, I mean, it was the last time it was with Buddy and they made that run and they lost to Houston, I believe. When was that, Paulie?
5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a little bit, but even before that, it was like it's like we're on the bubble. We're just getting in. It's not we're in there for sure. Like I don't know. I want to see at least like, hey, we're going after these guys, like the 5-star guys or the top guys in the portal, and I'm sure they are. I'm not saying they aren't, but if we do get these guys that we're talking about, we have to be able to develop them throughout the season, right? We have to see these guys get better throughout the year. I don't think we really see or saw these guys this year develop or get better. I mean, I didn't really see that, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, E, but I didn't see guys get better. I mean, JJ had a good year, right? He had a good year, but who really got better from the beginning to the end of the year?
I thought Eddie got better as it went on, and it might have been just him getting a little bit more healthy. But I thought Eddie played well,
better in shape.
A Eddie type player. Again, to be honest with you, to rebound at that level, the double machine, it just didn't. If we'd have been winning, then it would have been kind of shown differently with Eddie. But he was having some monster games. Just as far as high double games, not like just 10 and 10. He talking about high double 17 rebounds and 18 points, double. So but
he was a liability defensively though, and that's where we really struggled. Like we could, you know what I mean? Like I get what you're saying from the offensive side, but man, he like as a below the rim guy, and I think how we're trying to get, you need guys who play above the rim, who could sprint the floor, get out in transition. I need my guards to be able to really score. I can't rely on throwing the ball down to a big.
But you got that with William. He can run the floor. He's a big that can throw oops and everything too. Now you need somebody else to go with him to complement him. I thought Petard. Keep saying it. I thought that he was somebody that was going to be good to develop. To be that. I liked how he played when he came in. He played hard. He rebounded. I'd like to get more down to the because I haven't heard a whole lot of reasons why he transferred. But I thought he was somebody that could go in there and battle. But we got to have somebody to do the dirty work, like a big bruiser to be able to get some of those rebounds. We need to. But like you said, we need a point guard. That's we might need a point guard and a backup point guard. I don't know, but the point guard is a really important position. So,
and it's kind of, I don't know the situation. I don't know the situation with Petard. I heard whatever rumors, and I won't speculate on it, but it's a funky situation. Again, we go back to E talking about coaches saying, hey, it's probably be best for you to go somewhere else, and clearing what we're, I guess, cap space. Let's call it cap space, even though there's no cap. There's just clearing room for, to get guys who I guess are better. Right. And you talking about point guard, we haven't really talked about the freshmen too much. They have 4 freshmen coming in, obviously, highly touted, Cayenne, number 1 player in the state of New York. And I think he's super talented. It's going to be an adjustment period with every freshman. Look, unless you're coming in like Melo or KD or Anthony Davis, those are few and far between. Those guys aren't really coming in like that. Maybe the kid from BYU, we talked about a while ago, who's getting $7 million. You better come in like that. If you're getting $7 million, you better come in like that. But the left-handed kid from Australia, he's a point guard. He's like 6'5", 6'6". Maybe he's the backup. They got Sadiq White, who's 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", long and athletic on the prototypical Syracuse wing. Right? Can't really shoot the ball. He's raw. He's super athletic. But defensively, we got better with those guys. And the other guy, Womack, from Milwaukee, I think he's a bigger guy. He's a bruiser, but he could play out on the perimeter as well. So, but again, these guys, these freshmen coming in, they're unproven. We're talking about guys who've played at the college level, with the transfer portal, and give us some proven guys, right? We hope that these freshmen can come in and contribute, because they're going to need to, especially if they don't land a point guard.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
I kind of want to caution people from putting too much pressure on Cayenne too early. I mean, he's a great player. I liked everything. I've seen a lot of his games and everything like that. I think it's kind of an unfair comparison to think of him in terms of his dad. You know what I mean? Because Melo was a special player. If you're talking about Melo as one of the greatest freshmen to come in, you know what I mean, and lead their team to a championship. They're comparing him to Cooper Flagg. Is Cooper Flagg is he on Melo's level? If they, that's the type of conversation. I'm saying that's the conversation. It's too much to put that on Cayenne his first year, in my opinion. But I see people doing it. I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot to put on him. That's my personal opinion. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to come in. He's going to, but there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period, because for instance, they don't have the 6-year seniors as much anymore like they had this year, but you're going to have 5th-year seniors. You're going to have, guys that are 5 and 6 years older than him. There's going to be an adjustment period. So I don't know. Just don't put too much on him too early. That's what I'm saying.
He's not a guy who's going to come in and average 20. I don't think. I hope he does. That'd be awesome. He just comes in and proves. I hope he proves both of us wrong. Right? Come in and just shock the world and do your thing. But I think he's going to come in and contribute for sure. Now, does he start? I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know if there's pressure on these guys to start him just because he's coming in and Melo expects, his son to play. I have no clue. That's for the coaches to figure out. I would assume that he has to play at least 20 minutes a game, his freshman year. I'd assume that. And then you'll gauge it by, how his play is. But real quick, let's go back to I just got to rewind real quick. I saw this on Instagram. They were talking about Cooper Flagg and Melo, and Cooper Flagg's better than Melo. Man, listen, look, man. It's not even man. This dude Cooper Flagg was not on Melo's level. The skill like that he had. Yes, he's skilled, Cooper Flagg, and he's cerebral. He has a high IQ. He's probably more athletic than Melo was. I don't know. He's super athletic, but man, when Melo got you in, you don't see Cooper Flagg doing what Melo was doing in the mid post and out on the perimeter handling the ball. Please fall back with all those. Cooper Flagg is better than Melo. Melo was one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. To come in and do what he did, and that's no shade on Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg's probably be the number 1 pick in the draft, but man, to say that he's better than Melo, come on, man. It's different. I know. Let's take a break real quick and come right back. But I had to get that out real quick, man. Don't say that about my guy.
The 2025 NFL.
That's good.
Yeah, man, I saw that on Instagram. Somebody said he's better than Melo. I'm like, man, no way, man. are you talking about? It's a whole different ball game. It was way more physical back then. Nah.
Yeah, I feel you. I do feel you.
Now people, he win a national championship. Now people be like, yeah, we told. Man, listen, I mean, I still ain't hearing it. I think I picked Duke to win.
Yeah. It's hard to really go against them. If I was a betting man, I'd pick Duke, but it's tough to cheer for them. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah,
I can't cheer for Duke. I'm not cheering for Duke, but I got to give credit where credit's due. I got to do that, but I ain't cheering for Duke.
No, Shire's done a good job, man. He's done a good job. These are the teams I hate cheering for.
Yeah.
Duke, Utah Jazz, and San Antonio Spurs.
I got you.
I don't know. They're all in the same boat to me. Oh, Kev from Liverpool said Florida could win it all, but Auburn. I think they didn't beat Auburn in the regular season, did they?
I don't know. Florida looks good. Auburn having that old lineup still be getting me though, but they look good too. The average age is like 24.
Yeah, that point guard is a sophomore though. I think Pettigrew.
Yeah, he's the one person that throws it off.
He's tough, and he's tough too.
Mm-hmm. No, he's real tough.
I want to come back and kind of touch on Melo and being the commencement speaker and making the Hall of Fame.
That's cool.
Yeah, Melo, KD, Beasley, top 3 best college players. I mean, we could have a discussion about that, but they're in there.
I agree. Yeah,
I mean, scoring-wise, yeah.
Let's talk about Melo. Talk about Melo a little bit.
Yeah, so first, basically he's in then, right? If you're putting on if he's the first ballot, he's in there.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
I don't know either to say.
But he deserves it, man.
I agree.
So when are these games? Is it this weekend?
Yeah.
All right.
Quadir got into the transfer portal.
Yeah, that's what they were just saying, yeah. I mean, he's going to NC State, I believe, with this guy.
Yep.
It makes sense.
They took the other guard, though. The other guard just went there that was hurt from McNeese.
Really?
Yeah, Alan Breed.
Wasn't too familiar with McNeese.
Yeah, I guess he's a senior. He got hurt last season, but was averaging 17 before he got hurt.
Okay. Well, that's the thing. We got to see how the ACC does overall. Are they going to pick it up as a conference? Because if they do that, then you really need to get a big time guy.
Yeah, I think last year everybody had focused on football.
So you think it'll be a better year overall for the ACC?
Yeah. I think they'll spread it out more evenly.
We shall see.
We shall see.
I mean, the portal closes 22nd, right? April 22nd. Paulie, any point guards that you're hearing for Cuse or nothing? The kid.
No, I got nothing. Here we go.
Grid Law 1010, ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1, 1200 AM and 1440 AM. This is the Etan and Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Diebendorf.
Hey, E, I'm just going to tell you, we're going to Paulie for the recruiting right now. But Paulie, he's not on the end right now as far as the point guards go. We're in the same boat, Paulie. Don't worry about that. I don't know either. Hey, E, let's touch on Melo real quick. Some pretty cool stuff happening. One, he's going to be the commencement speaker for the graduates this year. They'll do it at the Dome. They do it at the Dome every year. So that's a pretty awesome accomplishment to get, right? And then number two, he's being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, which obviously he deserves. 10-time All-Star, national championship here at Syracuse, 3-time gold medalist, 19 years in the NBA. Yeah, probably one of the best offensive basketball players of all time. Without a doubt. So it's just pretty cool to see one of our Syracuse brothers, have all that happen to him, and deservingly so.
No, definitely. Definitely well deserved. On his first team, first ballot. So I think that's great. I mean, I don't know what that actually means. It means that he's a shoo-in. There's no more debate or something like that. But I think that's great. And so I also saw an interview with Melo. He's been in the news a lot lately. Saw an interview with him talking about how he wanted to buy into the Wizards organization, and he had his thoughts about he would do differently. He talked about the fan experience that, should be a lot better than it is right now. He talked about knowing, as a former player, knowing the personnel, about what it takes to be able to keep guys happy, to get the most out of guys while keep them healthy. It was a really good interview. And I honestly, I think it would be great, for Melo to buy in. I don't know if he was saying he wanted to take over the whole Wizards organization or if he wanted to be a partner, but I think it would be great. So I hope he does buy in. I think the city would definitely embrace him. And his roots in Baltimore. I mean, and everything that he means to the area. I think it would be great.
Yeah, obviously he'd come in with a group, I assume. But E, to your point about the Melo buying, I think that'd be better for the NBA to get more former high level players buying in, right? And just instead of having, just businessmen who are owning the teams who really don't know the game, never played the game, don't know what it takes, and the sacrifice that these guys made to even get to this level. So I think that's a good point that Melo made. Knowing what these guys need and want to be comfortable and to feel better, because when you feel better, you're going to play better. When you play better, obviously the team's going to do better, right? So I would like to see more former guys getting together with groups and trying to buy into these teams. And look, I say this all the time, and I'm not saying that if you didn't play basketball, I'm not saying that you can't be a good coach or you can't be a good owner or GM or whatever it is. But for me, from my perspective, I want guys who've been in the fire, who know what it takes, like who've been there. So like when they speak on it, they experienced it, right? Not just watching from afar. And again, there is some people who can do that who didn't play. I understand that they're good at putting guys together, whatever it may be. But if I want to roll with somebody who's been there, so once you got guys who are owning these teams who have been through it, like automatically these players are relating a little bit more. They feel a little bit more comfortable rather than, talking to this guy owning the team who's a billionaire who has no clue really anything about you, right? Or what it takes to win these basketball games or what it takes to get to this level, right? It's a whole different thing. What's your take on that? Because I just want to see more guys who played the game get involved on that level in the administration.
100%. And I think you're going to see more. LeBron said he definitely wants to get involved. And you heard, D-Wade is involved now, but he wants to do it on a different level. But you're going to see more. But I think Melo would just really be great for this Wizards organization. I have a lot of respect for him, both on and off the floor. I interviewed him for my book, We Matter. I was talking about him, and actually right behind me, and talking about him when he was protesting in Baltimore and Freddie Gray happened. And he's somebody who was out there with the people. He was marching with the people in Baltimore. And that's why one of the many reasons why, Baltimore really wraps their arms around him and respects him, because he cares about the city as a whole and the things that go on in the city. So I can't say it enough. I think it would be a great move. So hope we see that happen here soon.
And I'm a guy who could vouch for Melo because I went to a couple years ago when they had the Melo Classic, and they do it it was at Morgan State a couple years ago, I think it was, and he's in there. I'm talking about he's not just talking about, he's in the city. I was out to eat with him, and he's in the city, in the city embraces him, and it's kind of like and this is obviously we're talking about football now with Fran Brown. It's the same thing that Fran Brown is doing. Like he's making himself be seen. He's in the community. I just saw he spoke at a event like last week, just talking about community and what it means to bring people together. When you hear, everyone kind of says the same thing about it, but when you hear it from that type of person and that caliber person, like from a head coach of a football team or Carmelo Anthony, it hits a little bit different.
100%.
It just does. That's why I think it's so important for these guys to get out in the community, be in front of the community, engage in the community. If there's any events going on or something where you could speak at or get your name out, people are going to listen to you talk. That's what I was kind of talking about, especially with this NIL. I think that's why Fran is killing it so much. Like even with the basketball staff, the Syracuse, like get out there and put yourself in the community, because now they're feeling like they know you even more. Right now, your NIL is going to be, it might not be a huge jump, but if you're doing this year after year, you're in the community, you're engaging, you're shaking hands, you're talking to people. They know you now. They know what type of person you are. They don't. All they can do right now is assume what type of person you are. But when you get out there and start engaging and getting in the community, now they know you more so, and they want to help you out. Right. Yeah. So I think that's super important to when you're that caliber person, position, whatever it is, and get out in the community and support your community. It's just going to help everything else. And I think that's what Melo's done a great job of. And I think that's like you talking about. That's why Baltimore really embraces him. And he could always go back and do stuff. There's certain people where they're from, whatever city they're from. People don't want them to go back because they feel like they've never done anything for the community, elsewise. Like whatever it might be, when you leave, you don't come back. Right. And now you want to come back and do a whole thing. Where were you 20 years ago? So I just think that's important. And for me, I love it. I love being out in the community and just the little platform that I have. I want to get out there and try to make an impact and try to make things happen. So I just love when I see people doing that. I know we got a little off track, but I think that's what Melo has done a great job of. And hey, that's why he's a Hall of Famer. That's why, hey, if he wasn't involved in the community, I don't think Syracuse would ask him to come back as a speaker. Maybe they would. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't hurt that he's out there and he's showing his face and he's in the community.
I agree. And that's why we suggested before that he would be great as being the assistant GM, and for Syracuse. I still think it would be great for him to do, but we'll see. I know we got to go to a break, so let's go to a break and we'll wrap it up when we come back.
This is Orange.
Yeah, he's Trae Young, right? Was that the one who just was it Oklahoma?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just smart. People like remember we were doing the going back and forth with the guy on Twitter. Yeah, dude, come on, man. It's not.
It says assistant GM.
Yeah, and even to that point, he's like, "Oh, it's just a title. It's just a title." Well, yeah, we know it's just a title, and we know they're not going to be on campus and doing all that. That's not the point. The point is it brings recognition to the program. Right? It's a notable face.
There's no loss in doing that. Like there's no top happen from that. So
at all. I mean, and I'm sure they're not asking for any money. I doubt they are.
Yeah, probably not.
It's not like it's just they want to help out their alma mater, man.
It should have been a no-brainer. You should have already asked him that.
Man, just represent. This is what just represent us. Help us out. Hey, put a couple posts out saying I'm gonna be at Harry's, whatever it is, doing come through. This all this goes back to the NIL. Man, Melo did an appearance. You got $25 a ticket. All that goes back. Come on, man.
There's so much you could do. So much you could do. Hopefully they're still going to ask him to do that.
Or somebody, man. Seriously, yeah. I mean, that would be the guy. With Steph Curry, Davison, Trae Young. That would be the guy to ask is Melo. And it makes sense. Your son's here,
right? But Joanne, well, I still want to ask about this Steph Curry. Like that, I thought that was just amazing. I don't know if we have time though. How much time we have when we come back? Bally.
About 7 minutes.
Okay, cool. We can talk about that quick. Let's hit it quick.
No, I'm wrong. Hold on.
Oh Lord.
5-6 minutes. You're good.
Okay. Okay, they're not going to suspend John Morant.
You said they are or they aren't?
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, but just stop doing all that, dude.
They said something like that. I'm like, bro.
That was wild to me that they fired their coach.
I know. There
had to be something going on besides that, man. Yeah, that was crazy too.
Was that?
Look, Kyan not making the McDonald's game, even though he was the number one player in New York State.
Yeah. I don't know what criteria they have, so I don't even know how they do it, because I remember before, who was it last year that was kind of, who was it? Oh, my man that went down to UCF. I had all the hype around him, and he didn't make it. What's my man's name?
Oh, Mikey.
Mikey.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was because of all the other stuff, but I don't think so. I was surprised he didn't make it, to be honest with you. I was.
Didn't he commit to Memphis first?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was probably all that extra stuff, just to be honest.
You think so?
Yeah.
What happened to the
show? Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
I want to ask you this. If you saw Steph Curry light it up for 52 points against the Grizzlies the other day, that was amazing. Like, I was sitting there watching. I'm like, man. And it was like 12 for 20 from threes. Like, it wasn't like it was efficient. And he had like what do you have, 16, 17 rebounds? So he's getting a long read. It was very impressive to me.
I mean, this dude right here, Steph Curry, and he came out in the same class as I did. No way did I think he was going to be doing this. Like, he changed the game of basketball with how he could shoot the basketball. I mean, if you ask any legend, like all the greatest guards, they say the same thing. Like, hey, that's AI. So Allen Iverson is my favorite player of all time. Allen Iverson said Steph Curry is his favorite player of all time. Like to get that from a guy like that, come on, man. Like Steph Curry, not only is he making 12 threes, but do you see the difficulty that the shot? These aren't like wide open three. Like, dudes are doing their best to push him off the line, like pump fake with a guy. It's just unbelievable. So we were talking about John Morant and doing all the whatever he did. And that's a whole nother story. But one thing that you probably should learn from that, John Morant, don't rile up your guy, Steph Curry. Because right after you did that, he just went and he put on a show and gave you 52. Right? Yeah. So I wouldn't be saying anything else to this guy. Like, just, it's just unbelievable.
Whenever I see Steph Curry go off like that, I always want to go back to what all the scouts said about him when he was coming out. So I pulled it up, and this is what they said. They said, too skinny. Lacks great athletic ability, far below NBA standard in regard to explosiveness. Extremely small for an NBA shooting guard. It was all negative. So then you look up and he's like, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, you know what I mean? The greatest shooter probably ever and everything like that. But that was the scouting report on him when he was coming out. So that tells you, young people, young athletes, young players, you can get better. You can prove scouts wrong no matter what they're saying about you at any time. Look at Steph Curry.
And going back to what we were talking about a little bit ago, some of these scouts, not all of them, have never played.
Never played.
Have never played. Never played. So you're telling me I'm no good, and you never even played. Yeah. How could you, man? You shouldn't even be able to have an opinion,
right?
At all. If you never play, how do you get that job? Like I understand, like front office positions. I get it sometimes. Like that's for like an economic thing or for the money budget, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're scouting basketball players and you never played, I don't care if you've been watching basketball for 30 years. It doesn't matter to me. You haven't been. It's a difference when you played, because now you see you just know like some things that these players are going through. All right, yeah, I get it. I've been through that. I played. These scouts were saying he wasn't this, he wasn't that. Man, this man is one of the best players of all time. Top 10. He got to be top 10. The most three-pointers made of all time by like a lot.
Yeah.
And he still got ways to go. How many more years he has? You would say he has a good 5.
No, I agree. But you mentioned Ja Morant. So let me just say this real quick. Ja Morant, huge fan of yours. You are an incredible talent. You are an elite level player, like the top tier. You gotta stop up, man. Like you got to talk to Gilbert Arenas. Talk to that was my former teammate, and what he went through when he was doing after he got the gun thing, and then he was doing the pew pew, you know what I mean, and then he got suspended. Now you dodged the bullet. They said they're not going to suspend you, but you're like on probation. You're like on thin ice. Like you got to tread lightly. You don't need to get involved. You're elite. You was going to be the face of the NBA. That's the level of talent that you are. And then you got to be able to conduct yourself on that level, because also you're messing up your money. Like you're better than that. You ain't got to do no gun signs and all of this and stuff. You're an elite first tier player. Come on, man. Like I want to see you be successful. I'm a big fan. Like you are an incredible player, but you just got to stop with all the foolishness. Like I said, talk to Gilbert. He'll tell you how he messed up and tell you the mistakes that he made. But yeah, I want to see you be successful, man.
My thing is, who's in his circle? Somebody has to just be real with him and let him know. Everybody's telling him, yes, you this, you that, you that. Gilbert should reach out to him. I'm not saying he will, but he should. He needs somebody just to hit him in the head, not really hit him in the head, but just get into him like, look, man, like, what's going on? You already had a real charge, and you still doing these antics like on the floor. And then you did it, and then you got 52 scored on you. Right, so just fall back from all of that. But yeah, man, a top tier player, one of the most athletic guards probably in NBA history. Yeah, right. You just got to fall back from all that and just play the game, man, because you've been through it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there's to say. Like now he's just being silly with it.
Yeah, you gotta be smarter than that, man. But hey, we're at the end. Appreciate you. Always fun talking to you, man. It's crazy because the hour goes by so quick, man. But always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Hopefully next time we'll be talking about an elite point guard and elite big coming to the Q's. We'll see you guys next week.